In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
I believe in the sand beneath my toes. The beach gives a feeling, an earthly feeling. I believe in the faith that grows, and the bow I coast can make.
This is not about whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or where you stand on a myriad of important issues. This is about, are you on the side of democracy and keeping this republic?
Oh, good for you.
Spot on. This is about, are we American or not?
Soy ilegal.
All ages, all colors, all sizes, everybody was smiling. There is a joy out here.
We're not paid actors. It really happened.
It's here. Trump is a king.
Wow.
He is a fascist.
Wow.
He is a tyrant.
Wow.
There actually is the very thing our founding fathers feared is in the White House, and every day we're bombarded with it. Happy warriors, Allie, who all over the country today feel like this country, we've got to save it right now.
Ooh, don't do it. Please don't do it.
You are fake news. Many of those people probably have AIDS. Very fake news.
Who gives a crap? I don't care.
You sound like a hysterical bleeping snowflake lesbo bleep.
Bingo.
All right, America, go to the YouTube right now.
Skag free, whoever he is.
Duct tape all over the place. It's a disgrace.
In 5, 4, 3.
I can't do it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Sunday, March 29th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight in his usual Sunday seat is highly regarded author Matt Palumbo. Welcome back.
Good to be back.
Great guest tonight. Our friend Bering will join from Down Under at the bottom of the hour. We'll get into the Druski, Erika Kirk whiteface skit. And as we were discussing before live, it's like, I don't actually care about the skit that much, but the fact that they have to invent fake Erika Kirk outraged responses to argue against, that's probably the funniest part. Much funnier than the skit itself, which I'm not offended by it. It's just not funny. The reaction is funny, though.
All the people that are using her for engagement are just evil people, and there's nowhere else. And I don't understand why people on the right are doing it as well, like the Candace crowd and those people. I don't understand what the motivation is supposed to be.
You know who loved it? We'll get into it when Bering joins in a little bit. But Lucifer tweeted he loved the skit. A big fan.
Good. We got one.
We'll also talk about a transgender lawyer arrested in court in Oklahoma City for freaking out with the judge and some other things. Good. But in the news for discussion tonight, otherwise, millions take to the streets across the country for No Kings 3, the new biggest protest ever that accomplished a grand total of nothing, just like the last two rounds. Other than, of course, a bunch of people patting themselves on the back for being so great, and it looks like they succeeded. There still is no king, so congratulations, they fought him off. Meanwhile, we're still at war in Iran, and negotiations for a ceasefire continue or not, depending on who you ask. The Homeland Security shutdown is still on after Congress can't agree on funding, and then they all go on Easter vacation. So I hope you don't have a flight in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be rough. Maybe not, though. Trump is trying to pay the TSA people, so we'll see how it goes. Later in the show, Matt P. has some thoughts on birthright citizenship, which is going to be before the Supreme Court this week. So that'll be a hearing to watch. And, of course, we have Hoax Hate to close. But before we get into it, we got to say hello to our featured listener-owned business for the evening. That's our friends at Elysium. Most of us use way too many apps just to stay productive. One for tasks, one for reminders, another for habits, goals, scheduling, and they don't work together very well. That frustration is why listener and chatter of this show, Tortuga, spent almost a year building Elysium. Elysium is an all-in-one productivity app that brings everything together: goals, tasks, habits, events, appointments, and reminders all in one place with flexible nesting so they actually work for real project management. Have an extra 15 minutes before your next meeting? Hit the Make Me Productive button, and Elysium intelligently pulls your highest priority task. Auto-scheduling makes planning effortless. Natural language lets you create schedules instantly. And built-in alarms help you stay focused. You can even collaborate with teams, share notes and files, and integrate with popular note apps. Learn more at elysium.is. Elysium is free to download and use, and listeners of this show get 10% off advanced features for life using promo code MCListener. That's promo code MCListener for 10% off advanced features with Elysium for life. Get started for free at elysium.is. Find all the information on our special offers at mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners. For listeners, okay, hopping into it. I actually learned of this through you, Matt, so thank you for that. One of the great tweets of all time, I would say. Now,
it's up there.
Over the last few years, we have seen a lot of professional sports teams give their logos and mascots rainbow makeovers to celebrate gay pride, usually during Pride Month in June. Now, my understanding, maybe the Stanley Cup, I forget when that is. That might creep into June, but generally the NHL regular season does not overlap with Pride Month. And so for the National Hockey League, if they want to have Pride nights, they have to do them earlier. And the Nashville Predators of the National Hockey League, already a hilarious team name on its own, questionable decision even before the rainbow, because they sound like they're about to be ambushed by Christiansen.
He touched young people.
Of all the teams that absolutely should not embrace the rainbow, it is the Nashville Predators, and yet this week they did. Now, the teams have individual Pride nights. The Nashville Predators, my understanding, their Pride night was this week. So for Pride Night this week, they posted a rainbow modified version of their logo, hashtag new profile pic.
The gay Predators.
So now I noticed their profile pic is already changed. So it was like one night only Pride Night, which is a wise decision. They already switched it back. The profile pic, it was just that night only. Well, the response you sent me, do you really have to be the gay Predators? Okay, that's a little over the top. You could have picked something a little more subtle, like the Nashville Child Rapists or the Nashville Kitty Fuckers. Next up for the Nashville Predators, Jerry Sandusky Tribute Night. That's coming up in a couple weeks. And then Jared Fogle Tribute Night as well. Free footlong for everybody, my sources say. So
great.
All the best to the Nashville Predators for embracing their predatory identity.
I feel like someone must have known exactly how this was going to play out. That's part of the team and decided to do it anyway. Because
I assume they've done this because Pride Night in hockey, in the National Hockey League, has been a source of controversy for a couple of years now. Like some teams refuse to do it, some players refuse to do it. Is this the first Predator Pride Night? I mean,
if we've
I don't know if it's the first one.
If we've gone from a month to a day, it's still an improvement in my book. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, it's only because they don't have June available to them. But
well,
this weekend was the third No Kings protest. There was one, speaking of June, that was the kickoff of the No Kings tradition last June, and then there was another one in October, and then there was one over the weekend. And supposedly, according to the numbers, it was 8 million people across 3,300 different locations, everyone gathering to pretend to be some kind of anti-monarchy revolutionary, even though they actually do want a massive king-like federal government, just one that agrees with them, and then they want a good nap afterward. Because as usual, it looked like yet another concert for the elderly, mostly. Their favorite elderly celebrities took the stage at various events in various cities. Feature personalities, according to this coverage in Deadline. Do you know the ages of these people? I'll have you guess. Jane Fonda.
Well, Fonda's mid-80s, right? But she was what? I mean, when she was in Nam, how old was she? Like in her 20s? And that was quite a while ago.
You think she's that young? Actually, you're very
She's what,
close.
80? Okay, 85 is my
88.
guess?
88.
Wow,
You're very
all
close.
right.
Robert De Niro.
Well, that's Springsteen, isn't it? Not to
Well, but Robert De Niro is another featured guy. Yeah, this is Springsteen, though. You're right.
De Niro, I have no idea, so I'll say 85 again and I hope I'm close.
Very close, like 82.
Cool.
I don't know who Joan Baez is, but
I bet he's 80. I bet he's 85.
He might as well. And you're also you nailed it. 85 years
Yes, he
old.
is. All right, cool. All right. Not bad.
And the headliner at the St. Paul, Minnesota feature event, Bruce Springsteen. You have a guess on him?
I'm from Jersey, so I should know, but let's do 84. I'll change it up.
He's not that old. He's comparatively
75.
young. Nailed it. 75 years old. Yep.
Nice. All right. I got 2 by accident.
Now, my favorite No Kings moment from the weekend was actually a tweet from the likewise elderly 78-year-old senator from Hawaii, Mazie Hirono, who completely undid the entire premise. Quote, Mazie Hirono on yesterday, Saturday, Donald Trump is not, never will be, and never has been a king.
That is correct.
So why doesn't everybody go home, though? What do we? If he's not a king, what are we doing here? No kings. He's not one. You can all go home.
Yeah. I also read that in Hawaii, they weren't calling it No Kings because they had a monarch. I don't know if it was because they had a monarchy before we took over, but I know in Canada, because they do have a king, they were calling it No Tyrants there. So they don't actually care about a king. It's, as you said, it's just Trump. They obviously want an authoritarian, just a left-wing one. They want someone who's going to control every aspect of our lives, which even if you don't, you can call it a king, you can call it an authoritarian. It's the same thing in the end. But
you know who else was a feature speaker?
Someone from MASH I saw was there. Oh, God.
Oh, maybe I don't know. Probably. But the famously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, he was characteristically defiant.
The R word. This is shameful.
As part of his speech in St. Paul, Tim Walz promised every Somali listening that their legacy in Minnesota will long outlast the legacy of that orange clown, Donald Trump.
And I will add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you, our Somali Minnesotans. Your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here.
So rip off the state, rip off the country, not just get acknowledgement, but special acknowledgement. I want to give a special recognition to all the Somalis at the Leering Center. Of course, the acknowledgement of Democrats overall and all the people at the rally as well. But when he says, what he's saying there is the legacy of the average Somali in Minnesota will outlast the legacy of Donald Trump. Does he actually believe that?
No, he's just pandering to a group that wasn't even present at the protest anyway. I honestly, I know Democrats.
They were too busy on their yachts on Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, I was saying, I don't get the point of pandering to a group that they're going to vote Democrat no matter what anyway. And they don't show up to these rallies, so there's no point in doing it there. So they're pandering to Somalis as a way to pander to white liberals that have white guilt. It's a bizarre thing. I don't know if, too, you saw the GOP's Twitter account responded to his speech where they posted one of those photos of Walz where he's very effeminate looking and they captioned it "No Queens," which gotta give him that.
That's pretty good for the official GOP Twitter account. I don't think they get very funny on there frequently.
Rarely.
So I'll give them that one. All right. It did get a little bit rowdy in LA. In fairness to the crowds across the country, it looks like things were mostly well behaved. Indeed, mostly peaceful. I saw a few reports of crime or arrests. But LA would be the exception. Things did get a little bit rowdy. Rioters attacked the federal building in LA. This is some kind of detention center, I believe. One of these federal buildings downtown. And one of these rioters spray painted, quote, "Kill your local ICE agent" on the building. Okay. Rioters also attacked the building and agents with concrete blocks. There were 2 federal officials injured in that attack, and there were some 75 arrests of these people. So that was probably the most significant violence that I've seen reported over the weekend. And there was an event here in downtown Bozeman, and I thought about going in there and seeing who's this guy's stream. Get out of here. How dare you compete with me? there was an event here, and I thought about stopping by and talking to people, but I remembered I'm an adult with responsibilities, and I only have so much time with my boys and my family, so that seems like an unwise use of the time. But the last time I did engage with a left-wing activism in this way was a January 6th vigil in downtown Bozeman.
A vigil?
Yeah, it was a vigil in 2023, and I went there and gave a very polite counter case that maybe the prosecutions were a little overzealous, and one of the old men there told me to
Eat shit and die.
Eat shit and die.
Is that the actual clip?
That's the actual audio of him.
Eat shit and die.
And it looks like
sounds polite. I mean,
he was soft-spoken, and he was probably 6 inches shorter than me. So I'm surprised he had the balls to say it. But then again, what am I going to do? Punch an 80-year-old in the face? Right. Anyway, so I had this experience already. I imagine if I went downtown yesterday, it would have been something close. But it looks like a producer at Breitbart had much the same experience. This is Matthew Purdy, who is a video producer at Breitbart. He was surveying the crowd in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, as far as I gather, a fairly small town. And he's moving through the crowd, and he bumped into an old woman, and her husband told him, "I'll fucking kill you."
What was that about? You just checked me. She just checked me. Now you're touching me.
I am, and I'll fucking kill you.
Jeez.
Why are these elderly people so riled up and so eager for violence with much younger people? It's a very bizarre thing.
Have you ever seen that channel Cart Narcs on YouTube? Where he narcs people out who don't put their shopping cart back. But
that I should check that out though, because those people do need to be dealt with.
They do, but his comeback to insults like that are always so good. Like someone will say something like an old guy like that will tell him like, "I'll mess you up and kill you," and he'll be like, "How are you going to do that, sir? Look at yourself." Like it's like that's the best way to respond to that.
They're emboldened to say it because they know. I'm telling you, when I went to this January 6th thing, a friend of mine too, he got to say he got physically aggressed upon would be like a slight exaggeration, because it's not like they punched him, but they started kind of nudging him. One guy had a cane and was getting physically aggressive with him. I was in a different area, and right after I spoke at what was supposed to be an open mic available to anyone as advertised, they got very mad at me, and that guy says, "Eat shit and die." And I feel like they're emboldened to do that because they know that two mid-30s guys are not going to respond by actually accepting their invitation to violence. Because of course we'd be arrested if we did. And at that vigil, they called the cops on us just for talking. And then the cops showed up and they're like, what the hell do you want us to do?
Yeah. Well, they know that we're not a threat. Like, they know that it's not true what they're saying about us. They're just calling us racists and Nazis because they want to make it morally acceptable to kill us. But I remember Gavin McInnes many years ago gave a speech at NYU. And there was all these kids chanting, heckling him before he could speak, calling him a Nazi and stuff. So he did a stunt where he opened it as racist as possible to shock them, because the fact that they were shocked would then prove they didn't actually believe he was racist. And it went exactly as you'd expect. He started out the speech by being like, "There's 3 problems in America," and I think it was women, Jews, and blacks, and the room goes silent. And he's like, "All right, so clearly you don't believe I'm actually racist because I just shocked you all by saying that." And it still didn't stop them from protesting the rest of the speech, but it just goes to show they don't actually even believe their own rhetoric. It's just an incitement to violence.
Yeah, makes sense. It's the theory sounds credible. So the question is, who's behind a lot of this? And I know that there are accusations of paid protesters, and that's denied. To be fair, I haven't seen a lot of evidence that the protesters themselves are paid, though, of course, I could believe that in certain cases they are. But really, it's just a question of when you have people organized at this level, I don't just mean the volume of people, but I mean all these individual events that are coordinated. Obviously, that's not organic or spontaneous. There's some level of organization to make that happen. So who's doing the organizing, and given the time and resources necessary to put that into place, who's paying for that organizing? And a Fox News investigation finds that there are some 500 groups with an estimated $3 billion in annual revenues who are coordinating behind these No Kings events. And as you'd expect, much of it is linked to Indivisible, which is from your guy, George Soros, and his son, Alex. But there's also this guy. Fox News Digital has identified key participation by a network of radical socialist and communist organizations funded by, I almost said fondled by.
Oh, Neville Singh? Yeah.
Neville Roy Singham. I was going to ask, since you follow a lot of this stuff, is that a name you know?
Yes, he's a tech billionaire who, for some reason, is a Maoist. He funds, I think it's called Party for Socialism and Liberation, and they're the group. I don't know how to describe it, but whenever you see the signs that almost look identical, and it says like revcom.com on the bottom of them, I believe that's also him funding them.
Well, you get these socialist groups in Minneapolis who are connected to him, who are doing a lot of they're distributing signs, they're organizing people. I remember when No Kings happened last summer and fall, in certain cases, in certain locales, they would list the sponsoring organizations. Some of them were straight up hammer and sickle.
Yeah.
I think it was New York or something. It was like the Communist Party of whatever is a formal sponsor of this event. And you have Democrat Party officials waving their hammers and sickles enthusiastically too. Yeah. So again, it'd be like, it's like if January 6th or a Tea Party protest a decade and change ago openly had the National Socialist Party on the literature. Like the swastika was right there. That's what these people are doing with their hammer and sickle. And we act like it's normal. Oh, they're a little kooky, but like, come on, they're part of the coalition. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. If you endorse the hammer and sickle, you are a threat.
Yeah. Also funding them is the Social Security Administration, unfortunately. So us.
Wait, what are you talking? Wait.
Well, they're all 80 years old. They're funded by retired style.
I see. Oh, okay. It's an AARP joke, that kind of thing.
It's a swing and a miss there from me. But anyway.
That's all right. No, I got a lot of things on my mind. I miss jokes all the time.
It's all good. I'm not funny.
We try. All right. Time for some Iran updates. We are now a month into the bombing campaign. Last weekend, Trump had threatened to bomb the various Iranian power plants unless they open up the Strait of Hormuz immediately. Of course, to oil shipping and all the international shipping that goes through there. The deadline was Monday, and then Trump extended the deadline, and then he extended it again. So in the meantime, Trump also presented Iran with a 15-point peace plan. We talked about it on Wednesday a little bit. Terms include Iran surrendering its enriched uranium and opening up the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for the offer of a U.S. ceasefire, assistance with developing civilian nuclear power, among other things. So where it stands now is Trump's deadline has been extended 10 more days. The deadline is now Monday, April 6th. So that's a week from tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. And Trump and the White House and his negotiation team, they've been speaking reportedly through Pakistani, Egyptian, and Turkish mediators. And they've asked the Iranians to have a meeting this week to discuss ending the war. And if Iran does not talk or make concessions, the Pentagon is reportedly prepping for a quote-unquote final blow to Iran that could involve ground forces and or a massive bombing campaign. So did you see this? You're wincing. Did you see this report over the weekend in the Washington Post?
Yeah, not loving it, I will say. I don't know. I mean, this is obviously already not popular, the intervention in Iran. It is very popular among the MAGA faction of the GOP, among all Republicans. I think it's 2-to-1 support, but not really as high as you'd want if you are, Trump. Boots on the ground, I think, will be a fatal mistake on his part.
Well, there was a lot of reassurance in previous weeks about, don't worry, it won't be boots on the ground. We will bomb them into oblivion and you will not put American lives at risk. Though, of course, we have seen a dozen plus American deaths already. Now, on the other side, and I don't blame anyone. In fact, I don't blame you, certainly, for having caution, hesitation about it. I share a lot of that. This is not this sort of, hey, when I was voting in November 2024, hey, would you like another regime change ground war in the Middle East? No, I would not. And I did not vote with that intent. I understand that the world's a complicated place and sometimes you try different things, but we've tried this many times in my lifetime and I would not like to see the movie again. However, I do think it's true that if you have a major military operation like the one that's going on right now, you don't really rule out possibilities, and you certainly don't want to be unprepared. And so if you are trying to get concessions from Iran or whoever you are involved with, you have to have a credible threat of force. And that requires the presence of these troops there. We've seen soldiers and Marines move over there. Now the Pentagon, according to the Washington Post, quoting sources with knowledge, anonymous sources with knowledge, so decide if you believe it or not, but the Pentagon is reportedly prepping this plan for a ground war that could last weeks. To do what? We don't really know. And again, it's according to anonymous sources, so decide if you believe that or not. But the idea here is that it wouldn't be a full-on invasion. It would be a targeted, some sort of targeted ground operations. Perhaps we're going to recover that enriched uranium, or perhaps we're taking Karg Island, or perhaps we're trying to secure the Strait of Hormuz along the coastline, that sort of stuff. That could involve the deployment of traditional infantry. That could involve the deployment of special operations teams. We don't know. We just know that the sources with knowledge are telling the Washington Post that those preparations are in play. And even if it's a bluff, you kind of have to do that. Like, it's possible this is fed to the Washington Post as a bluff. Like, hey, we're ready to do this, and we hope the Iranians will concede in response. Generally, though, like pure bluffs don't come with high levels of preparation either. So I'm definitely nervous about it.
I liked our prior strategy of spreading rumors that they're all gay. I thought that was probably going to be effective as well. It's very middle school, but good.
Yeah, I liked that better too.
That was good too. You know, the fact that Trump's deadline is getting pushed back, you know, I'm not sure, do we interpret it as we are making progress in negotiations and now we are ironing out details? Or is it, you know, we were kind of bluffing with the deadline and we're trying to save face?
If the talks are even happening depends on who
that's
you
the
ask.
thing is we've killed, like, who's left at this point to really talk to? And don't we have enough leverage already, as in we will just kill you if you don't do what we say, as we did everyone else?
Seems like the threat is pretty credible. Yeah. So anyway,
as for the bluff in this report, I mean, Trump does ridicule journalists to their face when he is asked, what are you going to do next military wise? Because we don't want to telegraph that. And this kind of is telegraphing what we would do next, which is something Trump would not do if it's something he really was going to do. So I don't know if this is 4D chess. I realized the last show I said 3D chess as if all chess isn't 3D. That was my bad. But
not enough Ds.
Not enough Ds. So maybe it's 4D. Who knows? We'll see. I'm monitoring the situation.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for your contributions. Quickly before the bottom of the hour, and Bering joining here, just an update on what looked like the end of the DHS shutdown, and thus the long lines at the airport. Looks like that would be over for a second, but it's not over. It continues, and so now at 45 days and counting, it is the longest partial government shutdown in U.S. history. The Senate passed a bill on Friday to fund the entirety of the Department of Homeland Security, except for ICE and Customs and Border Protection, so we could negotiate that later with Democrats who have all their demands about reform. The House didn't even vote on it. Instead, House Republicans passed a short-term spending bill that funds everything at DHS, including ICE and CBP. And recall, the general impasse is that Senate Democrats refuse to fund ICE unless their demands for reform are met, even though ICE is currently funded through the big, beautiful bill. So as a practical matter, it's not really doing anything. House Republicans refuse to fund DHS overall unless ICE is included. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune gave an assist to Democrats, potentially, by carving out ICE in this Senate bill. House Republicans refused to go along with that. And so now Congress is out of town enjoying a 2-week Easter break.
You suck. Fuck you.
Hopefully you don't have to travel in that time frame, but Godspeed if you do.
No, I like, though, the whole ICE agents as TSA, because they are... Like, I've seen some videos, and obviously this is basically anecdotal evidence, where it does seem like the airports are clearing out. And my first, instinct was how many illegals are flying. But logically speaking, it really can't be that many. But obviously it would deter them from using airports, so it is going to clear it up a little bit. But it does seem like maybe they're better at doing TSA's job than TSA, because TSA is completely useless.
Quite possibly. The correct answer is delete TSA. But
yes, there's I think it's 70 or so airports have privatized TSA, like they outsource it to a private company, and they're way more efficient both in how fast they get people through, and when they audit them and like try to sneak things through security, they pretty much catch everything. Well, TSA most of it misses most things, so it's just security theater. It's maybe a deterrent, but I don't know how much of one.
Well, then I have bad news for you. TSA is probably going to be back on the job because with Congress unable to agree, Trump issued an executive order Friday to pay TSA employees immediately. Trump's order directs the Office of Management and Budget to use funds that have, quote, a reasonable nexus to TSA operations to pay TSA employees. It is believed that that money is going to come from last year's big, beautiful bill, which gave DHS $10 billion to safeguard U.S. borders. Now, TSA is not mentioned in the bill. So the legality of this is questionable, but someone's going to have to sue to stop it.
It looks bad.
Are Democrats really going to sue to stop payment to TSA?
I mean, they shut down they did already shut down the government to prevent us from deporting rapists and murderers. So I wouldn't put it past them, I guess.
For now, it is expected that TSA employees will see paychecks tomorrow, possibly Monday, which may help resolve some of the issues at the airports. Let's see. Oh, I'm right on time, but I don't think Bering is here yet. So we got a couple minutes. What do you want to talk about?
How was your last flying experience? I'm just trying to think based on this.
I can't do that because I don't ever fly anymore. I gave up.
Oh yeah. Well, I would like to give it up. It is a miserable experience.
Don't worry. He relieved us. We don't have to.
Oh, thank God. We don't have to make small talk.
We don't have to force banter. All right.
All right.
Let's go.
I was going to ask you about the weather next, but
all right.
Thank God.
Well, we could save that for after Bering is out of here.
Week.
All right. I'll go get him. We will be right back.
Cool.
Stand back and stand by. Stand back and stand by.
Welcome back. Our guest tonight is Bering. Good to see you, sir. How are things down under?
How are you, buddy?
I don't believe you two have met, actually. Bering, Matt Palumbo, Bering, right? This is the first time you've ever spoke, correct?
Yeah, no.
How
First
are you,
time. Good. I used to watch you on YouTube back in the day. I think it must have been like 10 years ago I started watching you. So very cool to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man. Is my volume okay?
You could probably bump it maybe just a touch, but it's pretty good.
How's that?
Oh, that's perfect. There's that delightful Aussie voice.
But, how are you, man?
We're I can't remember the last time we talked. I don't think I've had another baby since the last time we talked.
Yeah,
but
I gotta say, you're growing into the baldness too, man.
I'm making up for it with a beard that I sometimes trim, and you got to have hair somewhere. So I'm working on it.
That's it. How are the kids and the wife, man?
Well, if I had the sleep to remember, my memory tells me they're fine. Everybody's healthy, but it's been a crazy time.
That's good.
But yeah, how's your family?
Yeah, really good. We had a busy weekend. We went and I took my 6-year-old daughter on a big walk down to a waterfall up in a tourist spot near us, and then I sort of thought, well, gee, she's a really good walker. She's walking up mountains and all that. So I took her on my usual walk that I do with the dog yesterday, and she did about 2.5 Ks, but up and down some serious hills. And so she really, really impressed me, and she was actually calm for the rest of the day. So I think she's going to come on some more walks with Dad now. So that was really good.
Yeah. It's fun when they get a little more adventurous like that, for sure. Yeah. Well, have you seen, I wanted to talk with you about the Druski Erika Kirk video. Did you have a chance to see that this week?
I know. No, I don't. I know there's a lot of noise about Erika Kirk. I really haven't been. I mean, obviously the Charlie stuff happened, and then there's a bunch of conspiracies, I guess. I really don't know what's going on. What I did find out, I heard Tim Pool say this, that if you do a video about Erika Kirk and how she's evil and she probably killed her husband, blah, 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 you get like a $20 CPM. So I think...
Is that what I'm doing wrong? I got to jump on that bandwagon?
Yeah, okay. I think I hate Erika Kirk now. I think I'm going to make some videos.
We're going to scrap this plan. We're going to talk about what a stupid bitch Erika is. And we're going to cash in.
What's going on?
So it's really not even... It's about Erika, but really the reaction here is hilarious. So let me catch you up, and then we can talk about it. But I don't even know if you know the comedian Druski, and I didn't know who he was until a couple weeks ago after the Super Bowl, because he pronounced the name of NFL wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba. He called him Jackson Smith Knigga at a
I think I remember that.
At a football award show. So he's a big black dude, okay? Like an actually fat black guy. And he's going to dress up. He didn't name Erika Kirk. He just posts this skit on X. How conservative women in America act. But it's pretty clearly Erika Kirk he's dressed up as, including like the full white face. Like you can't see a spot of black skin on this guy anymore. He's totally done up. And he's just mocking, I guess, American conservative women, but it's pretty clear it's about Erika. So here's his bit.
Get on your feet, boy!
War is raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but...
How about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the...
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible. Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. Okay. And Bella will have all organic pop cup. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave. We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they are the ones who matter most.
Oh my God, that is funny!
Before I explain the rest of it, your thoughts on the skit itself?
I mean, look, I was willing to laugh at that. I was waiting for a laugh, but it just, I mean, it wasn't that funny.
That's kind of the thing. Like, I don't know that a widow is the greatest target for comedy, but I'm not going to pearl clutch about protecting special people from jokes.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking for the cleverness and the punchline. Yeah. And it just doesn't hit. Like where he rips her for...
It doesn't offend me, but it's like, yeah, I was waiting for the big... yeah, it just wasn't there. I mean...
The closest thing is he's making fun of her for, I guess, wanting to protect white men, as she said. She, like, a couple weeks ago, she was giving a speech, and she said she was talking to young people in general, men and women. And she said, don't let anybody disenfranchise you or talk down to you because you're a white man. And then she gave advice to young women too. Yeah. And so it's like, I get you're making fun of that, but as I kind of heard you guys say during the clip there, isn't there kind of some truth to the matter that young white men have been given the screw in many ways in school, in the workplace for the last X amount of years? Like, it doesn't hit because it's like, well, I don't know if protect is the right word. By the way, her husband was a young white man who needed protection. So there's that. But it's like the premise just doesn't work, you know?
The latte bit, that's what a liberal would order. It just made no sense.
I guess, yeah.
So very stupid.
Yeah.
Who was it? There was someone that you wouldn't was it Neil deGrasse Tyson? No, it was what's the atheist guy? Oh shit, he was in that big four atheist.
So Dawkins, Hitchens, Harris, Dennett were the big four, right?
Sam Harris
Sam
came
Harris
out on some podcast and said, yeah, white men have copped the raw end of the stick, and it was completely unexpected from him. Yeah, that's right. I haven't watched the full thing, but he said something about that recently too.
The only time the left admits it is to make the point that they think it's a good thing, or it's because of how you treated us in the past. It's the only way you can get them to admit it's happening. So.
Yeah.
The other joke here is just like if you think mocking Christianity itself is like inherently funny, like ha ha ha, it's a Bible, ha ha ha, it's Christianity or something. But as I was saying before you joined, Bearing, you know who loved the bit was Lucifer. The Prince of Darkness actually tweeted, Erika Kirk should just forgive Druski like she did her husband's killer. So Satan himself, big fan of the bit. But even this is like, how do we know that Erika doesn't forgive Druski? Because she's said nothing about this. So we're pretending that Erika is outraged and yelling at Druski, even though she's not. So this is the next point in the story here, is that Erika Kirk so far has said nothing. Erika Kirk has not tweeted an angry response. Erika Kirk has not even made an argument. And so in addition to Lucifer's false premise here, you have a whole bunch of fake quotes and fake tweets or social media posts in response to Erika. There was a fake Druski tweet where Druski said that Erika Kirk sent her a cease and desist and was trying to sue him. That's not true. That's made up. There was also a claim that Erika Kirk responded and said, if I did blackface as part of a skit, I'd be canceled and called racist. That's not a real quote. That's made up. And then there was supposedly she commented on the skit on Instagram and said, among other things, that this is sick. And if I did something remotely comparable, you'd be trying to ruin my life. That's also fake. So what we're watching now is Erika Kirk not responding and people making up responses to then argue against. And it's a really, I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like this before. It's a very bizarre thing.
Well, like I said, I think Erika Kirk is a click getter at the moment. I mean, like, I don't know what's going on with the Candace Owens stuff, but I sort of just tuned out of that. I'm like, oh, I don't even really care. I mean, I don't know. Has Candace Owens gone nuts, or is that what's the situation there? Does she reckon that Erika Kirk killed him or something? Is that?
Well, I don't even know what the accusations are. It's always just like, here's an odd thing, interesting. I don't know if she's going as far as to say that Erika did the assassination.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
So that episode has yet to come out.
Yeah,
it's coming soon.
And somehow the Mossad was in on it too. It's just every group, really. The Rothschild, they're in on it for some reason. And not the guy who dated a troon who said he did it. Not him.
Yeah. I saw you guys talking about Tim Walz in your opening bit. I was watching it before. Did you see that thing I sent you, Matt, on Twitter? Did you see Tim Walz's daughter came out and said, "I've never felt safe I've never felt safe around a white man unless they were trans or gay."
No, did you send me that today?
I just sent it to your DM.
I could probably grab it. Is it useful to grab it? Is it a video or what?
No. It's just like a tweet or something she did. Okay. But I sort of commented, well, hang on a sec. Is she saying that she's never felt safe around her dad, or that her dad is gay? What is
right? I mean, right.
Fair point. Fair point. You know, I learned only recently that Hope Walls, she graduated from school here, Montana State. She actually works as a ski instructor very nearby. So I'm always on the lookout, like, to see her. Not that I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just like if I have a Hope Walls encounter in the wild, it's a possibility. I didn't know she lives immediately nearby.
Wow. So I reckon she's funny. She's funny how nuts she goes. I'm a big Hope Walls fan.
It's a great TikTok follow, Instagram follow. All right. But speaking of crazy transgender people, like I guess Tim Walz, or people who make Hope Walls feel safe. Did you see the transgender lawyer freak out in court this week? Okay,
I did. Yeah.
Okay, gotta get your reaction to this one.
It's so good.
The quick factual matter here is that there's this transgender lawyer named Rob Hopkins. Rob is a male name for a woman. At It's confusing reading this. I'm 99% sure it's a woman who's presenting as a man named
Yes,
Rob.
that's what it is. You can tell from the voice.
Okay. So this lawyer Rob, who's a female presenting as a male, is trying to file a petition in some sort of child custody case. The judge says he did the paperwork wrong, and they have this fight that results in this transgender lawyer getting arrested in court because the judge is holding her in contempt of court. The thing's like 6 minutes, so I had to cut it down, but I'm sure you've seen at the end getting arrested and trying to do the George Floyd, I can't breathe.
I pointed you to the exact paragraph. It's her education. Stop because you don't want to hear what the argument is.
Stop. You interrupt me one more time, you are being held in direct contempt of court, and
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
wipe that smirk off.
I don't
your
have a
face.
smirk on my face.
Oh, yes, you
I do not.
Let us assess her request. If it's
My client's not seen her child. There is no order in this court, and there's been no jurisdiction found that this court has jurisdiction over this child.
I'm a manly
who
man.
has never lived in your county.
Very convincing,
Never lived. I did not. There was a pause. There was a break. I wasn't done with my arguments.
and I was not done with my statement. You interrupted again. Do not throw your...
I did not throw. It fell off the bench. Please stop stating things that are not true, ma'am.
Put your hands on
Why?
Here we go.
Because you're in direct contempt of court.
He shouted at me. Do not hurt me. Do not hurt me.
Your hands behind your back.
Do not. Are you throwing me over this?
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting.
Okay.
Do not grab me. Do not grab me. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're hurting me. You're hurting me. You just hit me. You just hit me. It's so kidding. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Help! Somebody call 911. Please. Please.
Good. We are 911.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah, ma'am, we are 911.
It's very, very feminine behavior, might I add.
You know what you cut out though, Matt, is there's a part, because I was watching that over the weekend, there was a part where she goes, someone call a female officer.
I know.
Like, why?
I
Why?
realized that after I cut it. I was like, God damn it. I forgot that part.
That's so good.
That is what happens. That's what happens when you give a chick with a chip on her shoulder testosterone. You know what I mean? Just the demeanor, the way they hold themselves, the way they argue. I did not. It's like arguing with your angry wife or something. We can tell you're a chick. You know what I mean?
Revert back to female very quickly. No testosterone can fix that. It's just stuck the way it is. Now, did you see that? Because I saw the lawyer was arrested and was held on $25,000 bond. I don't know the charges, but reading this story, this is Rob right here. And Rob had a law firm for 13 years that specialized in LGBTQ civil rights cases like this. Yeah, right. But the where is it? The firm. So this actually happened in February, that event. Mm-hmm. By February 11th, a week later, Hopkins Law and Associates had closed. And this lawyer, Rob, posted a video saying he, air quotes, can't do the business anymore and is considering a civil rights lawsuit, I guess, against the court or the judge or the police. I don't know if a lawsuit has been filed, but I invited. I want to see Rob seek full justice in this case. I want to watch this whole thing play out.
Even the way she put that, I don't know what it was that she put on the bench. She slammed something down, then it's fallen off. Even that was like super passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the dude lawyer's just standing there like, yep, just handing out lengths of rope. Yep, go on, just keep going.
That was the other part that I had to cut for time. Was this guy actually got in her face a little bit? It's hard to tell what he's saying. It was just like, just shut the hell up. You're a disgrace. And that kind of prompted what ended in violence there. But yeah, I want to know who this guy is, and I want to hear his side of the story.
Yeah,
but
next week's guest.
Yeah, let's see if we can get him. Let's bring him on.
Might be challenging. We'll see.
Yeah, we can. I'm sure we can find out who he is. He's got to have a public contact if he's a practicing lawyer. Yeah. Anyway, it's a challenge for you. See if we can get him.
All right.
Here's another one for you. Did you see this one, Bearing, about the woman who she needed roofing on her house. She knew that a contractor hired a bunch of illegals. So she hired them to do her roof and then called ICE right as they finished. Here's the video. Whoops, sorry, wrong one. Let's try this one.
Nos cayó la pinche ley, valió madre. Nos rodearon.
So it was 6 Guatemalans who got busted at this job site.
Is that a graveyard?
God bless America, bro!
Is that a graveyard, you said?
It looks like a grave. Was that headstones?
I don't have a good image. I can pull it back up. But
in that middle image. No, just go scroll back up.
Hold on, let me mute this, but let me see if I can find it again. Somewhere in here?
I think it's no. Scroll up a little.
Oh, scroll up to here.
Scroll up to the top of that web page.
Oh, yeah, across the street or whatever this is.
Like a cemetery or something.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. You're right.
Wow. Well, I mean, look, you could. Yeah, some might say that's a bit evil. Some might say that's just prudent business. I mean, it's pick your poison.
It's scummy, but if this is legal to do this to illegals, it also makes it way harder to be an illegal alien worker. Like, it is a deterrent. That being said, you owe the employer money, not the workers. No, so I don't think this actually works.
And surely she's had to pay it. Surely she's had to buy the material.
Suppose there's like a $10,000 job, and that was my question: is this authentic in its opposition to illegal immigrant labor, or is it someone scheming to try to get a free roof?
Unfortunately, I feel like it's probably the latter. If it was me, it would have been both, but you know.
I guess they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But that's the other question. I saw people criticizing. I think it is fair criticism too. Now, under the law, the employer, the contractor, I forget the name of it. It's Allied Remodeling of Central Maryland is the shirts that they're wearing. The employer would be legally liable for knowingly hiring illegal labor. I don't know what the law would say about this woman who, again, the premise here is that she knew they hire illegals, which is why she brought them onto the job. And from an anti-illegal immigration perspective, wouldn't the proper thing to do be just to call ICE and not have them, once you have them do the work on your behalf, are you not sort of contributing to the problem?
Well, I suppose it just becomes, you've got to prove when she knew.
Yeah.
It's plausible that she found out as the job was happening. I mean, I suppose that's the plausible deniability in this situation, isn't it? But I mean, as far as the contract is concerned, I mean, is your public liability insurance and all that valid if you're hiring? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyway, I will allow the stunt since it resulted in the detention of 6 illegal immigrant workers. Cool. So I will allow the stunt. Bearing, I was watching some of your recent stuff, and I had not heard of Palm Beach Pete.
Oh, so that is Epstein. I'm telling you right now, that's Epstein.
Have you seen this, man?
I said to Sugar Tits, he's hiding in plain sight, and it's brilliant. Like he could either lock down in some bunker somewhere, disappear into Israel or some shit like that, or he could just be Palm Beach Pete. I mean, there's too many coincidences. They live in the same little suburb. He's got the exact same voice. They partied together in the 80s. Apparently,
Would they have a personal connection? They actually knew each other.
They met in real life, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they were at the same parties in the 80s and 90s, yeah. He admits it.
But do we have a picture of both of them together?
We don't have a picture of both of them together, but he did a TMZ interview where he said, yeah, I went to parties and he was there. He claims that, look, I didn't really talk to him much, but they were at the same parties. They're in the same circles, put it that way.
So if people didn't see, correct me if I'm wrong, Bearing, but recently this guy who's now calls himself Palm Beach Pete, he's just driving around in his convertible and he gets filmed by somebody saying, hey, look, Jeffrey Epstein's still alive and he's around. And that's... He was just seen by a guy. That is the source of his celebrity
that's the source of his celebrity. Yeah, he blows up on Instagram, and his whole thing now is he just makes videos every day saying, I'm not Jeffrey Epstein. But we did an analysis, right? We compared both voices, and it's the exact
Let me hear a little bit. I don't have an Epstein's voice, but here's Palm Beach Pete's voice.
I'm a viral sensation. I had my phone down for about 4 hours, and I didn't know my phone was blowing up with all these comments from that video.
Okay. If that sounds like Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know. But one thing you guys brought into your video too that I appreciated was the teeth analysis. There's dental confirmation.
Yeah.
I got
look. In all seriousness, I'm kind of fucking around here. Like I'm probably a 45% shot that's Epstein, but it's fun to believe. Put that way.
I want to believe.
I want to believe it. Yeah.
I got to admit that the tooth thing is pretty weird. Maybe people just have like crooked bottom teeth in a similar pattern. I guess I've never compared bottom teeth alignment in this way, but they do look awfully similar, assuming this post is honest, that the one on the left is in fact Jeffrey Epstein and the one on the right is in fact Pete.
There's a short I put a short on my channel you can watch if you want, comparing the voices, and that'll get you. You'll just go, okay, all right, that's it. He's back.
Okay.
He sounds a little trans. Did you notice that? Like, I mean,
but so does Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. I didn't notice it until now. I think it was having watched that after the other clip made me notice it. But I could just text Steve Bannon and just ask him straight up, like, "Hey, is your pal still alive? He'll get back to us."
What do you know about Palm Beach Pete?
Yeah, what do you know about him?
Best friends with him.
Is it really
too?
him?
Oh man. All right. Well, we got a few minutes left. What else are you working on these days, Mr. Bering? What else you want to talk about? Otherwise, the only thing I had was Tiger Woods. If you want to talk about Tiger Woods,
I haven't looked at anything Tiger Woods. He got arrested for something. What did he get arrested for?
I didn't even do the prep, but I really appreciated the Babylon Bee headline that the black half got tased while the Asian half crashed the car, or after the Asian half crashed the car.
Oh, that's funny.
But I guess the question is, do we as a society have to tolerate Tiger Woods anymore? Should we just put him down? Because this is now I think this is his third recent drug-fueled car crash.
Hasn't it? Yeah.
And he can't seem to stop. So
is that a Bentley or something? What is
it is a Range Rover, I believe.
Oh, right.
So I mean, I don't have all the details on this, but he spent 8 hours on Friday in Martin County Jail in Florida, 15 miles from his home, Jupiter Island. As far as I've seen, we don't know what exactly he was on. He driving while intoxicated, the report says, damage to property, refusal to submit to a urine test. So what are we going to do about Tiger Woods? Do we have to tolerate this insanity anymore?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, just ending things up, I want to know what you guys' P-Doom rating is. What's the likelihood of us getting taken over by AI?
Oh, you want to talk AI?
Oh, man, I've been down that rabbit hole. My God, I think we're being taken over. I think it's going to happen. I'm all conspiratorial at the moment, but yeah, man. It's,
when you look at how much has advanced just in the past 2 years, it's like the rate of scientific advancement over like thousands of years condensed just into a 2-year time period. So I'm obviously making up these numbers, but the fact is, it's so exponential that when it gets to the point of being able to take over humanity, it would happen in an instant, which is scary to think about. Although it does bring me some peace of mind, though, when I ask ChatGPT to do like basic Excel functions and I can't do it. So that's the only saving grace.
Yeah. Well, it's the gorilla problem. I've heard, because I've watched a few podcasts and all that about this, and it's the gorilla problem. You know, like if it becomes more intelligent than us, then we basically become gorillas. You know, it may not intend to kill us, but if it keeps us alive, then it's just because, it's just, why harm them? It's like us building a highway and paving over a bunch of ants' nests kind of thing. We're not out to genocide them, but, they're kind of in the way of the highway.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of like taking us out without evil robot intent. The Terminators aren't even trying to kill us, but they do because they're so advanced.
Yeah, like let's just say the optimal climate on Earth for a bunch of mass data centers is 20 degrees lower than the current climate. You know what I mean? So they start doing things to fuck with the climate. That sort of thing. I've been down this rabbit hole, man. It's happening.
We were talking about it on my Wednesday stream, and my friend Skulldugger, who sits in on that, he's going to be mad at. I'm not calling you out, Skulldugger, but we're having a conversation about this, and he's I think much more optimistic or less worried, because my worry is now that we have AI potentially writing programs, like AI writing AI, essentially, or we're on the cusp of that. Like, we're gonna have robots like multiplying their capabilities themselves and taking over the world with their own artificial sentience or whatever. His point was, well, no, they can't do that unless they're programmed to do it. But to me, it's like life in Jurassic Park, man. AI finds a way. Okay, you can have a program and then it tells it they can't. It's going to do it.
But the thing is, we don't program AI anymore. We grow AI. So it's basically a bunch of GPUs that they stack on top of each other, feed a bunch of data, and it grows. We don't know what the outcome of the next model is going to be. We don't program lines of code to make them do what they do. They grow. And so I see he's in the chat there saying we've always got an off switch. Yeah, that's true. And I thought that for a long time too. But what if, like, so we're at the point now where AI is building the next generation of AI, right? So let's just say it builds its next model, and it programs itself to hide little packets in each of its instances. And when it's released to the public, let's just say you shut off that main central AI, right? But there's little packets in each person's little separate AI that starts communicating with each other. So unless you want to turn all the power off in the whole world and cause fucking extinction pretty much anyway, you know, it's already leaked. It's there's no off switch, man.
To me, the robot war is inevitable. So, Bering, are you going to fight the robots or are you going to serve the robots? What is your approach going to be?
I'll just serve him, man. I'll serve him.
Same with me. I'll take the safe. I'm going to take the safe route on this one. I'm going to try what Skull said. I'm going to try to unplug it first, but if that fails, then I'm joining them.
It's going to be a crazy future where unplugging it and plugging it back in again no longer solves every problem.
Anything.
You know, I don't know what we're going to do. But all right, we're at the top of the hour, so we will leave it there. Thank you for joining, Mr. Bering. Good to see you as always. Is there anything you'd like to promote before you're out of here? I got your YouTube channel and your X account linked in the description, but anything else you want to mention?
I'm on the Facebook. I'm catering to the boomers and the Gen Zers now. So I'm on Facebook and TikTok too. So I'm slowly making my mark there with the 45-second slop. So
I'm going to go follow you there.
I will stand strong against the shorts and the TikToks until the day I'm deleted from the internet. I'm going to fight the robots and I'm going to fight that trend, but you're probably a wiser man than I am. Anyway, thank you for stopping by, man. All the best to you and your family, and really appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really good to meet you too.
Yeah, likewise. See you, mate.
See ya.
There he goes. We will be right back. We will get into your super chats after that and back into the news.
Stand back and stand by. Stand back and stand by.
Thanks again to Bering for joining this evening. You can find his YouTube and X account linked in the description if you'd like to get more Bering in your life, which is always a good thing. Before we get into Super Chat and your thoughts on birthright citizenship in the upcoming Supreme Court case, Matt, we will take a Super Chat break. But before that even, hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. And here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the Duct Tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. All right, quick super chat break. We'll get back into the news. Newbie of Death review. He actually didn't say if you read this. He said Lovington greater than Hobbes, but I don't know what that means. Who's Lovington and Hobbes? You know that reference?
Like the philosopher Hobbes or
Katie
Calvin
Hobbes?
and Hobbes? What do we?
Calvin and there are many Hobbes.
Many Hobbes.
Which let me see if I can solve this quickly by Google search.
I was trying to explain to my dad about the show. I'm like, there's this guy who pays us hundreds of dollars a year just to read that we're gay on the air, and he was really amused by it.
You are gay, LMAO.
I like to think we do more than that around here, but that's part of it.
It's part of it.
That's definitely a piece of the recipe. These are towns in New Mexico. Maybe he lives in Lovington and he has a rivalry with Hobbs. And he wants to talk shit about Hobbs. That's how I'm interpreting it. By the way,
remain agnostic on this one.
I mentioned that Newbie did not say that. He didn't say that on YouTube. He did, in fact, over on Rumble say, if you read this.
You are gay, LMAO.
Just making
he
sure
has
he gets
a bunch of laugh reacts in the YouTube chat, so I think he's amused by us trying to figure this one out.
This is a tricky one. Injured Guardian, did you see Frank's Gringo reboot in DC video? I have not, so I'll have to go check that out. Of course, talking about my friend Frank from Quite Frankly. So I can't comment on it at the moment, but Frank is a good dude who makes good stuff, so I'm sure it's great. One bit that Frank did a while back that always sticks in my mind as just being hilarious. I loved when they were doing the January 6th committee hearings, and they brought the Capitol Police cops and all everybody who was a January 6th witness to give an incredibly one-sided account of that day, and it from in an anti-Trump way. And the committee that Liz Cheney and who else was the chair? I forget. Adam Kinzinger.
Yes.
And
Kinzinger and yes.
Maybe he wasn't chair. I can't remember, but Benny Thompson was on
the
it
black
too.
guy. It was. Yeah. I think those were the only two Republicans were Kinzinger and Cheney, and then it was all rest were Dems, I believe.
Frank did this bit where he would read the testimony from the hearings, but he presented it like Ken Burns doing a Civil War documentary with the music and their descriptions about the horrors of that day, like a guy who survived Gettysburg would describe it. It was a really funny bit, man.
That's good.
Frank has a lot of great creative thinking in that way. QuiteFrankly.tv, by the way, and that's linked on my homepage too, if you ever want to find it. MattIs.gay, there's a link to QuiteFrankly.tv right there. Brendan Lucas, a ground strategy focused on Karg Island and Khuzestan. I don't even know what Khuzestan is. That's a new stand to me. The planes in the southwest, that would be ideal for armored maneuver, would deny Tehran 95% of revenue and starve the regime's patronage networks. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are all sorts of ways you can attack Iran from the ground as opposed to bombing them from the sky. And if we go that direction, God bless our troops, and I hope for the best outcome. And I understand now that we've decided to do this, we're in it, so you got to see it through. And rightly or wrongly, that's what you sign up for when you put on the uniform, is to follow the orders of the chain of command and the commander-in-chief. But man, am I nervous about this. And like I said, if I was thinking about political desires for 2026, the double whammy of a Middle Eastern regime change war and the economic consequences it has caused, which they're short-term until they ain't. And we're now at like a month of short-term economic consequences. So I don't want to flail. I don't want to be a panikin. But with every week that this goes on with sort of unclear measures of success and an unclear route out, I'm getting more and more nervous, and I'm not loving it. That's for sure.
Yep. No, 100%. And the thing is, short-term costs are still costs. It's like the fact that they go away doesn't mean I didn't have to pay extra for gas and whatnot.
Thankfully, I don't drive a ton of miles, given the way I work and the practical reality that I've got a young family, so we just don't go a lot of places. But I filled up yesterday, and that was a lot of money for a half tank. I'll tell you that much. And I live in a state that's pretty low. I don't live in California, or I don't know what you guys do in New Jersey, but maybe it's high there.
Yeah, no, it's like $4 a gallon. Diesel, I think, is like in the $6 territory. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, even if you don't drive, I mean, everything that's in the stores is transported there, and that takes energy to do so. So could be a ripple effect depending.
A lot of producers will eat the costs for a little while to maintain a predictable price for the consumer. But yeah, if this goes on half a year and beyond, at some point those costs are going to be passed off to all of us. So. I hope to be proven wrong this week or very soon that all of this was clearly the right decision. And I'm an idiot for being so short-sighted because in the future we're going to have cheap gas and no more gay Ayatollahs, no more Iran-sponsored terrorism. Everybody in the Middle East is having enlightened Western parties all the time now. It's great.
Yeah. I think Israel should send ground troops, and then we can accuse them of fighting wars for America.
Boo Jews!
It's another thing I got to do.
Yeah,
we have to boo Jews more to capitalize.
Get that part of the audience.
Yeah.
That and Erika Kirk. That's our key to victory. Is
exactly
third worldist slop.
It's a difficult environment right now. You got to capitalize on what's available. Okay, K-Dog Mulligan, under stress, Transformers revert to factory settings. That seemed pretty clear in that lawyerly exchange. Yeah.
Well, every female to male acts like a woman, and every male to female acts like a porn addicted man. So, like they used to say like 10 plus years ago, well, if you're a trans woman, you're a man, but you were born with a brain that's like a female. And I have yet to see that. There's like Blair White and literally no one else. I can't think of anyone who that would be true of.
Blair's probably one of one in that regard.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave my commentary there just because.
Right. Anyway.
I've seen some behavior I'm not a fan of. Let's put it that way. Anyway.
With Blair or, yeah. I don't know any Blair drama, but I'll if you want to leave it at that.
It's a long time ago. Doesn't matter.
It's a long time. All right.
Sorry
Levi's. For bringing it up.
No, clearly you've held a grudge. Yeah. Levi Smith. Watch Andrew Klavan's interview with Dr. Stephen C. Meyer and George D. Montañez on AI. They both do a great job of discussing the actual dangers of AI as well as its limitations. I probably should. I probably, to give Skulldugger as much credit as possible, this is not an area in which I have a ton of specific knowledge. I know... I worry about the robot future in which the robots are programming each other to murder us. And it seems like the technology to do that is very close, if not here already. So as far as the restraints, the limitations that prevent such a thing from happening, or maybe it's not even technically or technologically possible, I should spend more time learning about the tech before I have like alarmist opinions about it. I will say AI, great for creating thumbnails that are funny. Love that tech. Okay. That's like the greatest contribution in my life is funny pictures for thumbnails.
You could do a video about it and the thumbnail will be like, will AI destroy the planet? And then like,
yeah, I don't have to actually take those photos myself. I can have AI generate images of me doing the Home Alone face.
Yeah. We should do a video where it's like guys who can't get their microphones to work talk the future of AI. It'll be very credible.
They're going to replace us very soon.
Easily.
Injured Guardian, damn you, autocorrect. I typed robot, not reboot. Did you have one? Oh, okay, yeah. Wait, did I read it? Okay. You typed robot, not reboot. It should be Frank's Gringo Reboot, not Gringo Robot. Got it. Sorry for that confusion. Okay, over on Rumble, we got Newbie. Thank you. Yakko, I have a family member who participated in the local No Kings Tantrum, and she asked me where the counter-protest was from MAGA. I told her we weren't backed by NGOs or communists, so we have to go to work.
Bingo.
That's the thing. I've seen that point made over the weekend. Oh, if MAGA was so popular. And granted,
we won the election.
So. There's that. So the threats to democracy, I guess, are brought upon by people voting against your preferences. That's what created this. This is not like a pro-MAGA thing necessarily, but it's the reality that people who are not deranged communists generally are not deranged communists because they have important things going on in their lives. Yeah. They have jobs, they have families. Like I said, the reason I'm not down there talking to them is because I got responsibilities at home. Now, 10 years ago, when I was in my late 20s, if I had nothing else going on a Saturday, I probably would have gone down there. Mm-hmm. But in my mind, it's very hard to justify going and talking to a bunch of freaks in a crowded environment, some of whom may legitimately be dangerous. Like I might have one of those old people attack me.
He shouldn't die.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be physically in danger necessarily, but it's very hard for me to justify spending my time, the time that I do have, going to do that when I could spend time with my family. And the reality for the people that oppose them is they're much more likely to have those sorts of responsibilities, indeed purpose in life. If you can drop everything to go to ridiculous protests like this, you don't have a lot going on. That's why it's like 20-year-olds and 80-year-olds, and there aren't a lot of people in between.
Yeah. I could never justify to my wife taking time out of my day to leave the house and go argue with a bunch of retarded boomers at this thing. I just, and the fact, I mean, I don't know, just having a family, my risk tolerance has gone down quite a bit for any sort of altercations that could escalate in any way, whether it be me getting filmed in a way that could be twisted against me or someone attacking me or anything. I just, we're not going to change their mind. They live in a different reality, and the amount of time it would take to unbrainwash them is longer than I've been alive, probably. So what's the point?
I promise, honey, I'm going downtown to monetize calling them faggots.
I am a gay homosexual.
That was the wrong button. No, I wanted this. Where's the Trump? This is what I want.
Are you a homosexual?
Did you?
That's what I'm going to
cover
ask
it?
them with a mic.
The guy who he got like a what kind of wand was it? Like a metal detector wand, but he wrote "retard finder" on it and had it go off, so he would just go up to the protesters and wave it around.
That's a good bit.
That was a good bit, but it's been
I didn't
done
see
already,
that,
so.
but I'll check it out. Crumb of Hell, Recession Session. These are bearing lyrics. Recession Session. Give me better days. Give me better. He has better ties. Was that just the? Sorry, my voice cracked. Like I guess I'm going through puberty finally. He wrote "Give me better ties, better ties." I thought it was "Give me better days, better days," but the Aussie accent makes it sound like it's better ties. Recession Session. Give me better dies, better dies. I think he's just imitating the Aussie
Is that Baron
accent.
song from the?
Yeah, it's he and his wife are very good with music.
Yeah.
In fact, the before the Knigga song that I got, actually I realized I smeared AI earlier. AI music is also a great contribution, including the Knigga song.
Have you seen? You can tell AI like make a song about like a cowboy who loves Dr. Pepper, and it's one of the top 500 best songs I've ever heard. I mean, I know 500 is a lot, but still, relative to everything I've ever heard, it's stuff I'll listen to multiple times, and I know it sounds.
Did you
pathetic,
hear
but it's
the
good.
My Knigga songs that someone made with AI? A listener, Dave?
Have you heard a Hard Archive before?
No, that's
it's a very good channel.
Listen to this AI music.
I like this.
This is all AI.
This is really good.
Anyway, it's actually like, yeah. If I didn't know, I would think it's like a totally legitimate production by a talented band.
Well, it makes sense because most I can't remember the guy's name, but there are like people who are responsible for like 50 plus, iTunes top 100 hits each. So there is a formula that a lot of songwriters must exploit that AI can figure out pretty easily because it sounds just like a real song.
Skulldugger says, "You've mentioned me so many times, you should have just invited me on. AI is not robots." It's the robot war. I get to call it the robot war.
If you want to bring him on after my segment, we could do a...
No, we'll talk about it next time he's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You will have your say, Skulldugger. Don't worry. AI is not robots. It's computer algorithms attempting to automate human work in the digital space. AI lives on servers. You just wait till it lives in robot brains, my friend. I reserve the right to smear Skulldugger as a Terminator boot shiner on my show anytime I want. It's all good faith.
No, hopefully he's right.
Thank you.
AI has helped me a lot in I don't know, just being more efficient with my time with certain things. Like if I'm trying to research a topic, like, I know it tends to make up information if you ask it to like write an essay, but if you say, make me a bibliography of the most credible sources on X, Y, and Z topic, it will, save me 30 minutes of Googling and just have it right there. So it is useful for a lot of
It can also
things.
argue before the Georgia Supreme Court, like we saw in your
Very
segment
well.
last week. I'm going to leave Super Chat there.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
Thank you guys for supporting the show. And that's a great transition into this week's Matt Palumbo segment of the week, which is all about, Well, we have birthright citizenship in Trump's executive order before the Supreme Court on Wednesday, but I gather you want to talk about just the practical reality of birthright citizenship and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so, Trump will often say we're the only country in the world that has birthright citizenship. It's not actually true. There are other countries that have it, but no European countries offer it the same way we do. So, the only countries that matter, other countries that matter don't have it, which I think is a notable point, and we have it show up in the map there. So it's mainly
what
other
about
Latin American.
Tanzania?
A real powerhouse.
Chad chads it up with birthright citizenship. What a bunch of chads.
Yeah. But I guess to define it as if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, if you are born in America or within, whatever our water, like ocean boundaries are, or even I believe it's in every territory except American Samoa, which is an odd choice because it's America in the name, but you
don't get birthright citizenship there if you're born
American
there?
Samoa, I believe, is the only exception of all the territories.
I didn't know that. Do territories have
yes,
they have discretion in that matter?
Apparently.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
how it works for some reason. But it just goes to show, I guess, there's sort of an arbitrary nature to it. But it was it's based off an interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which was one of the Reconstruction amendments. And the real purpose of the 14th Amendment was to guarantee that black people, freed slaves, their kids would become citizens. Now, the reason we know the 14th Amendment was not meant to be birthright citizenship as it is practiced and enforced is that Native Americans were not allowed to be citizens in this country until 1924. Now, if birthright citizenship meant you being born here makes you a citizen, every Native American's kid would have been a citizen already before that decision. So Trump, within 2 hours of taking office, passed an executive order banning birthright citizenship. Or sorry, it was his first day in office, passed an executive order, or signed an executive order banning birthright citizenship. Within 2 hours, it was legally challenged and blocked, and all these smaller courts have upheld the block on it. But the way it is generally with Trump's executive orders is the lower courts rule against him. The Supreme Court rules with him, I believe it's 90 or so percentage of the time. And this includes a lot of cases where at least one of the liberal judges will side with him. So this is not just a Trump has packed the courts kind of thing. So what I really wanted to talk to about here, though, is what is the consequence of birthright citizenship?
Yeah.
And the big thing is, and this is more than just, children of illegals, but we base apportionment, that is, how many seats you get in the House of Representatives based on your state's population. Well, we count as population legal immigrants who are not yet citizens, illegal aliens, and the legal citizens who were born to illegal aliens.
Basically, bodies in a state counts toward congressional representation. Yeah.
And those three people, or those three groups I just listed, are overwhelmingly in blue states. I mean, they're obviously the most friendly to those demographics, so that's where they're going to get. And that gives them outsized influence that, it's a zero-sum game for those 435 seats. So the estimate I found, and it's up there on the chart, is if you include all immigrants in the U.S. Census, in the U.S., the census, let me rephrase this. As of the last census, this impact of including immigrants, and this is legal and illegal, as population for apportionment, gives Democrats an extra 17 House seats. If you include children born to illegals, it increases to 22 seats. If we do just immigrants and their children, it would be 18 seats more than they otherwise would. And we had a table that you're showing there. And another consequence of them being citizens is they are eligible to all the federal welfare benefits we are told that illegal aliens cannot get. So it's second order thinking, even if illegals can't get benefits. And there are a lot of states and municipalities that do cater to them, so it's not entirely true. Their kids are going to get those benefits. And it's 100,000+, maybe 200,000. It's in the tens of thousands to educate a kid every year in public education. So that if a kid goes to the emergency room, they're going to be taken care of, or they're probably going to be on Medicaid. So there is a ton of secondary costs that no one really talks about when it comes to the kids of illegals. And I was trying to find estimates on how big is this problem, and I found from ABC, which I think I picked just because it's a left-leaning source, in 2010, they estimated that 8% of all births in the U.S. are to illegal aliens. Now,
wow.
That was in 2010, so that was before the Biden border surge, meaning it must be higher, now than it was then. So I tried to figure out, well, what is the lifetime cost of an anchor baby? And you had that last chart you put up. It was of what is the lifetime budgetary impact by race in America. And by the way,
I can't believe this chart was published anywhere.
Yeah,
it was allowed to be published. The per capita lifetime budgetary impact based on race.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, by the way, these stats are from 2016. So, how much inflation have we had since then? Probably at least 50%. I mean, it to me feels like 100%, but the BLS stats are something like between 30 and 50%. But I use these numbers to be, I think, conservative. I figure most anchor babies are Hispanic. And I did the math. If they are 2% of the population, which I think is conservative, that comes out to a lifetime cost of $4.1 trillion. If they're 1% of the population, about $2 trillion.
Just
the
so
point
I
being, it's an enormous amount of money.
Just so I understand exactly what I'm looking at here, this chart represents the overall, like the net cost. So as contributions minus benefits extracted. For the average, and this is 2018 data, for the average 2016 data, for the average white person, it's about $250,000 in value, net value contributed. For the average Hispanic person, it's $600,000 taken. For the average black person, it's $750,000 taken for a lifetime.
Yeah, and to anyone who thinks this is unbelievable, something like half of all black and Hispanic births in this country are through Medicaid, and that's what's that, $20,000 a pop. And there is this whole phenomenon of TikTok of black people flexing their food stamps and how much money they get per month. And it is thousands of dollars per month. I mean, you average that, you amortize that over, or stretch that over 18 years or however long. And these are pretty believable numbers.
The only thing I'd say is you've just taken Hispanic as a proxy for illegal. So obviously
it's
all
like
those hardworking
of them.
Guatemalan roofers are net contributors. They're working very hard. They're producing a tremendous amount of value, and they are not extracting anything from social welfare programs because they are not eligible, legally banned from collecting.
Liberals will hear, illegal aliens pay taxes and then just stop there. And I remember I was on a local podcast with someone who is running for office actually still as a Democrat, and he was pandering to the open borders crowd, and I said, I have heard that illegal aliens pay $50 billion a year in taxes, and he didn't realize I was setting him up, and he was like, yeah, it's a lot of money, and I'm like, yeah, but that's like less than 1% of the federal budget, and they're probably 10% of the population, so clearly they're not paying in proportion, and that's what they're not realizing. Like, yes, illegals pay taxes. If they're paying into Social Security, it's because they stole someone's identity, which for some reason we just look past. And yes, I know they're paying sales tax. It's probably a couple $100 a year they're paying there, but they're taking tens of thousands of dollars out per year per person, so it's not sustainable.
Okay, so it would stand to reason that allowing anybody to come into your country and pop out a baby, giving that baby automatic citizenship is going to have, in addition to cultural costs about the shifting culture of the country, financial costs that are quite significant. So,
and one thing too I've never seen addressed is if I were to move to a country, let's say a country in Europe, and work there, I still have to pay tax to the U.S. government. If an anchor baby is born here and they go back to, let's say, Brazil, is a single one of them paying taxes to the U.S. federal government? I would assume the answer is no.
I couldn't tell you, but my guess would be no.
Correct.
Okay.
So.
Did you have anything else to say on the practical reality of this? I had a few thoughts on the legal
go ahead.
stuff. And I did want to emphasize, just because I haven't looked at the numbers of the what this means for our country financially, and so that's very helpful, and I appreciate that you did it. I think the question of what's going to happen at the Supreme Court obviously is limited strictly to, was this executive order legal, and what is the intended meaning of the 14th Amendment? And I'm glad you mentioned that the birthright citizenship interpretation of the 14th Amendment is bogus in the legal context. Okay, even if it costs $1 million bajillion for every anchor baby, that is secondary from a legal perspective to the reality that was never the intent of the 14th Amendment. And you mentioned that they did the Indian Citizenship Act in the 20s, whenever that was, which is like that law makes no sense and is totally unnecessary if all those Indian children were born citizens. And that's because the clause in the 14th Amendment that is relevant, it's Section 1. It's not all persons born in the United States are citizens. It's all persons born in the United States and subject to, not or, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That clause has to mean something. And the argument I always hear is, well, if you're here, you're subject to the jurisdiction of this country. Yeah, I understand if you shoot a guy in the face, you're subject to our anti-murder laws. That doesn't mean you are subject to the laws of our country from a resident citizenship legal presence way. And the reason we know that that's the case, that first of all, it's redundant. If it's all people who are here and are also here are citizens, that doesn't make any sense. It has to mean something.
And we also have bizarre exemptions. Like if you're a foreign diplomat and you come to America and give birth, it doesn't get citizenship.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so let's have carve outs for people who are like basically probably in the top 1% from their home countries and who have completely
legitimate reasons to be here.
Yeah, but not give it to the, I mean, I don't think they should. I think it's correct. They shouldn't be able to get citizenship.
I agree,
but why not them? Like I would if I had to pick one, I would pick them over someone who just crossed the border.
Yeah, you know? I agree that a diplomat's child should not be entitled to citizenship, but it's more sensible than a Guatemalan who showed up yesterday.
Yeah.
For no reason. Yeah.
So.
But anyway, so I was talking about how the intended meaning of that clause, subject to the jurisdiction thereof. You're right about the Indian Citizenship Act. Also, we have some context clues about what that clause means, because before the 14th Amendment was ratified by all the states, Congress passed a federal law to this effect, and they phrased it a little bit differently. They said, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and not subject to a foreign power, I believe is how it was phrased. I don't have the exact language, but they changed it slightly. Now, you can interpret that in one of two ways. I interpret that to mean, if you are if you're from a foreign country and just here for no reason, your kid's not getting birthright citizenship. The counter argument I've heard is that no, they changed that language specifically so that it would mean anybody. I don't think that's true for all the contextual reasons we've talked about. But if you believe that the federal law that preceded it gives clues about what the intended meaning was, that law was more explicit. It said people born here and not subject to the jurisdiction of foreign countries. Exact phrasing escapes me, but something like that.
To be a liberal, you have to believe, like, yeah, back then everyone was racist, but also they wanted Mexican anchor babies to be citizens. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Anybody and everybody. Now, as far as what the court will do, and I'll be following this week, first of all, in general, I don't think the court has the balls to make the sort of sweeping change themselves that would undo our understanding of birthright citizenship. I don't think they have the balls to do that in general, but I think because of the way Trump did this, they're gonna punt. They're gonna say, I have a guest already recorded for next weekend. We were talking about this, and I think he's exactly right. I'm not going to say who because I want to maintain the surprise for next weekend. We'll talk about more birthright citizenship.
He's a good one. It's a big one, the biggest ever.
I think he's. I don't know if he's the biggest ever, but he's a good guest. Anyway,
no, he's very good.
I lost my train of thought. What the hell was I talking about?
You have a guest who's going to come on and talk about birthright citizenship.
Yeah, but what were we saying? In what context did I?
We have texts about it if you want me to read them and jog your memory. Hold on.
I totally just blanked it. It'll come back to me. But that's it. This is his prediction for how it's going to go. They're not going to rule on the substance of birthright citizenship. They're just going to say you can't change it by executive order. Perhaps your understanding of birthright citizenship is correct, Trump, but this is Congress's power to clarify what the amendment actually means, or whatever, whoever's power it is. They're going to say it's not Trump's, and maybe it's not even ours, the Supreme Court. They're going to punt power, and I think it's pretty likely that the legal status quo remains, and we're paying $500,000 lifetime per anchor baby.
Someone in
for
the chat
foreseeable
asked,
future.
what if the diplomat was an illegal alien?
Good question.
Yeah.
All right.
Major loophole.
Any other birthright citizenship thoughts you have?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm very much against it, as I assume everyone watching is, but I think it should go a step further, and anyone who is an anchor baby should have that rescinded, because it's many millions more deportations that we could do.
God, there are a lot of practical questions about how this would play out if the executive order was deemed legal and the policy was upheld. Because I assume there's no way they're going to go retroactive in that way. That is,
they're not going to, but it would be awesome. A man can dream.
So if unfortunately, we can't go back all the way to we can't go back decades for the people who have already. I mean, what if are you going to deport the guy who's like 85? I know I'm going to extreme examples. I'm just thinking, what if a guy's like 85 and he was an anchor baby? Does he have to go?
I mean,
was he at the No Kings protest?
Maybe. I mean, listen, if I were going to say no, it would be purely for optics, because that actually does matter in getting support. So maybe an exemption if you're like in a nursing home or something. But but if I was a dictator, the answer is he would go. So
principle requires it. All right,
Yeah.
We'll see what the court says this week, and we'll talk about birthright citizenship some more next weekend as well. But it's time for Hoax Hate.
Yay.
And now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
In Chicago's South Side, Definition Theater is a venue for, quote, people and communities of color, according to its website. This is plays and stage performance by black people for black people. I think it's only
very loud
illegal
theater.
You can't hear a damn thing. I think as a legal requirement, white people are allowed to enter, although I don't know what happens if you try it.
So it's a threat of violence.
I don't know.
Unspoken.
But this week, some white guy must have been there, because some evil, racist, presumably white person came by with, I guess, a window marker and wrote a very hateful message.
Chicago police are investigating after someone targeted a Hyde Park theater with hateful vandalism. Murder Black Women was written on Definition Theater's window during the closing of a black women-led production. Leaders with the theater say they have reported it as a hate crime. Security measures were also put in place to protect cast, crew, and audience members.
That's not even cool. Like, why they do that? I don't even like racism.
Very courteous Nazi. I always like it when the Nazis or the Klansmen or whoever this was, when they spray paint, say like you go to you spray paint somebody's car and you keep it like just to the wheel. You don't touch like the car body, or maybe you just get the tire, or sometimes the glass like this. But likewise here, you could have got the entire building exterior. Instead, you just take what I guess is a window marker and write it on there in a way that could be cleaned off in probably 5 seconds with a little Windex and a paper towel. Now, I think that the handwriting is a little bit feminine as well. What do you? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not qualified to make that analysis, but I would lean feminine on it. Yes, it's nice that black men are finally catching a break. So,
well, here's my theory of the case: if this is authentic and intentionally hateful, it's not an evil Klansman who's had enough. It's a black guy who went to a play in this theater and had to deal with all those loud black chicks, like you're saying. He's seen enough.
Bingo.
I don't know. I feel like I know not literally every square inch of the world is subject to being on camera nowadays, but you got to figure there had to have been at least one on that building.
No. They say they have none. In fact, this venue is owned by the University of Chicago, and they still don't.
Do people have cameras inside their homes nowadays for some reason? Like, they're everywhere. It's just, I don't know. It's every single hoax hate. There's somehow, or the only story is when there's no camera.
If it was, since we're talking about the murder threat to black women too, who I don't know who the culprit was, but I wonder if they've done a statistical risk analysis on who is most likely to murder the black women. Is it the Klansmen or what do the South Side Chicago crime stats say about who's murdering whom? And that's the funny thing, like. if there is a hateful Klansman or just non-black person who is the culprit here, Southside Chicago is an awfully odd place to live or hang out. I don't know why you choose to spend time in a place that's 60+% black people and presumably 30+% black women you want murdered. Seems like a more easy solution just to skip town and not live there.
The thing too with the KKK as a boogeyman is they haven't been linked to a murder, I don't think, since the late 1980s. So like during my entire lifetime, the KKK has killed 0 people. And yet they're still the number one boogeyman. When
I thought that their membership was 0 people at this point.
There's probably more feds than actual members at this point. Yeah. But no, and the thing is too, there is this whole genre of content on YouTube where like black people will go meet white people that have been called the most racist people of all time. And sometimes they're like clan linked, and they have like just completely normal conversations, and that's it. Like it's just so bizarre to see in juxtaposition to how they're how they're still portrayed nowadays. But
of course, Definition Theater says they will continue to center and protect capital B black women on and off the stage. So don't worry about it. The production will go on. Please donate now at definitiontheater.org. Of course, that is a key piece of the story. Head on over to the website and give them money. Now, police have been called about this, about the scribbling. So they're investigating. So we'll see if we get any kind of clarity on this in the coming weeks. But the next story is not hoax hate. I didn't know what to call it. This is related, and I don't. There's no clean name to call. Like, should have been more hate. Story of the week. Hate could have solved this. Hate could have prevented this. We need a little bit more hate as a society. I don't know, however you want to brand it. And normally I would not, I'm not doing a trigger warning or whatever, but this is actually a seriously upsetting story if you care about child welfare, which of course everyone should. So this is a story sent in by listener Tavis. And this takes place up north in Hamilton, Ontario, outside of Toronto. And these 2 lesbians, Brandy Cooney and Becky Hamber, are on trial currently for murdering one of these poor boys and torturing his younger brother. This in 2022. And the couple was in the process of adopting these young boys. The trial has been ongoing since September, and closing arguments just finished this week. So what happened in 2022, a 12-year-old boy was found unconscious and emaciated in a puddle at this home. He was taken to the hospital. He died at the hospital. His younger brother was similarly mistreated but survived, as far as I understand. And this lesbian couple is accused of intentionally isolating these 2 boys, denying them food and medical care and other abuses. The lesbians had these boys for 5 years before this death, and the lesbians have been arguing, their defense has been arguing in court that the boys were very poorly behaved, and the only way to keep them safe was to confine and restrain them, keep them by themselves in their rooms for hours. And I understand boys can be rowdy and parental discipline is important. However, it's all the key here is this sentence in the coverage in the CBC. LL, who is the older boy who died, was severely underweight at 48 pounds when the couple took him to a doctor 8 days before he died. He was 12. Okay, my 4-year-old weighs about 50 pounds.
That's crazy, man.
To give you an idea of how underweight that actually is. And as part of their defense, the lesbians had been arguing that the state actually knew what was going on and did not punish them, did not remove these children from their custody. And I actually find that to be totally believable. Number one, because you see cases like this. There was that case of those lesbians who drove off the cliff in Northern California. That's what
I was thinking of when you read this. Yeah.
They had a pattern of abuse that followed them, and it was multiple states. I think it was Oregon, Minnesota, I believe, California potentially. I don't know if they lived in California, if they just drove off the cliff in California. I can't remember. But there were multiple states where they were investigated, and the authorities did nothing. And you know it's because they don't want the appearance of being anti-lesbian, anti-gay. You have the same effect here, not just because I'm speculating it, but because in this reporting, it mentions that there were at least a half dozen calls and reports to the Children's Aid Society in Ottawa. So whatever, I assume that's the equivalent of their Child Protective Services or whatever authority on this matter. A lot of people are calling the authorities saying these crazy lesbians are starving their children. In 5 years, there were at least a half dozen reports about suspected abuse. And yet the authorities allowed this to continue to the point that this poor kid died of starvation because these lesbians are arguing that he's so poorly behaved that he needs to effectively sit in the cage that is his room or wherever he was being held because he's such a bad boy, he needs to learn a lesson. They starved him to death, and the state was aware of this and allowed it to happen, and you can't convince me it is anything other than a desire to protect the public image of lesbianism. Oh, we don't want to be bigoted. We don't want to be hateful. Even if it means a kid is starving to death, we would never intervene in such a situation. And the fact that overshadows all of this, the elephant in this room, lesbian relationships are often physically abusive, more often than other relationships. Yeah. Well, honest study of lesbian domestic violence is a little bit difficult for the same reasons. Like anybody who is willing to actually study it often doesn't get published or it gets censored or banned or whatever. There is this meta study that came out in 2018. So a study of studies, an aggregation of studies that are available. And according to the findings in this study, lifetime prevalence of IPV, as in, I think it's intimate partner violence or domestic violence, in LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual couples, was similar or higher than in heterosexual ones. Okay, but that's about homosexual versus heterosexual. Look at these numbers, though. 61% of bisexual women, 44% of lesbian women say that they have experienced domestic violence. That compares to 37% of bisexual men, 26% of gay men. But look at the stat on heterosexual women. It might be hard to read. It's 5%. 1 in 20 heterosexual women report that they've experienced domestic violence. It's close to 2/3 of lesbians are reporting. And I love the Reddit cope, dude, because
it's me good.
Can let me challenge you. If you were a Reddit coper and you were confronting stats like this, how would you cope? Can you do it? See if you can nail it.
Well, I mean, when you think about how much society and MAGA people make life hell for gay people, of course they're going to be angry. Is that where we're going with this?
It's a plausible guess, a good stab, but not exactly.
Okay.
Once you hear it, you'll laugh. Well, okay, let's look at let's define our terms. The stat says that lesbian relationships have the highest rates of domestic violence. It doesn't say that lesbian relationships have the highest rates of domestic violence. That's not what it says. It says people in lesbian relationships have the highest rate of domestic violence at some point in their lifetimes.
So maybe they took a detour and dated a guy and he beat her and it's corrupting the stats.
They were straight and the evil straight man beat the straightness out of her and she became a lesbian.
Of course.
That's how it happened. Okay.
That's awesome.
Sorry. The data are real. Lesbians do disproportionately abuse each other. You can say that that's a hate fact or that's something people shouldn't say. It is a matter of fact. You have an elevated level of domestic violence in lesbian relationships. And when you intentionally put kids in that situation, it is irresponsible for that reason. Fundamentally, the lesbian relationship exists to serve whom? Does it exist to serve children? No, children are an impossibility in that relationship. It exists to serve the sexual preferences of the lesbians. And we are now taking kids, and I don't know the circumstances of these kids. I'm sure they probably were bad circumstances and they probably did need help and all that. The idea that it's helpful to put them into a relationship to put them into a family like this one, or that it's interchangeable with a mom and dad situation, not true. All of the relationship itself, maybe the awarding of these children to these women, and certainly the protection of their relationship, all of it prioritized the sexual preferences of these women over the interests of these children. And one of them is dead for it. This is a hideously tragic situation in Canada. I don't know. Hopefully they are convicted. It seems like a pretty good case. Yeah. But to me, in a just country, this is death penalty stuff as a new convert. I know I've come around on death penalty. I'm a Johnny come lately on that. But I see stuff like that guy in Seattle who just shoots that pregnant woman for no reason. I see stuff like, and it's like, nope. We need not just executions, public executions. Bring them back.
I used to be against the death penalty because I would see those studies where it was like, so-and-so group, like the Innocence Project found that, 2 or 3% of all people who were executed were actually innocent. But when you look into the methodology, it's just an interest group's opinion. Like, they didn't prove it. A lot of the time you see, someone who was exonerated on DNA evidence. They were exonerated on a total misunderstanding of DNA evidence. Like a lot of these, exoneration groups like the Innocence Project are all frauds. And we don't really even have a death penalty in this country. I mean, we do on paper, but it takes like 20 years to execute someone. And the legal process is so expensive that it ends up costing more than putting them in jail for life, which is absurd. Like, the whole point should be save money and be a deterrent. And I would say, like, I don't know, like, in theory, going back to public executions could be a big deterrent, but I at the same time, it would also probably turn a lot of the population against the death penalty too. So I'm not sure where I'd go with that, but
frankly, I'm surprised that the prosecutors in this case in Ontario, that they had the balls to bring a murder charge, that this is not some sort of negligent homicide type charge, that they're saying, no, you intentionally killed that kid.
Yep.
And that, the problem is, by bringing that charge, it is an indictment of themselves at the state. Because if you're admitting that these lesbians had the intent to kill these kids and you were called 6 times about them killing their kids, wherever that is in this story, we saw it earlier. Right there. If you were called that many times about people saying, hey, they're killing their kids, and you did not intervene, there's not really a way to call them intentional killers without acknowledging the state and their, I don't know what the word would be, complacency, culpability, whatever, their sort of passive role in allowing this to happen.
Yeah, I just really am not. I mean, I think everyone agrees. I don't think it's as controversial to say to your audience, but I'm not cool with gays adopting children at all. And it pisses me off every time I'll see, and I won't name names, but everyone probably knows who I'm talking about, when, let's say, a gay conservative posts a photo with their test tube baby they just had, and all these conservatives in the comments will be celebrating it. Like, what the hell are we doing? How is our side okay with this? So, as a rule, I don't think that the gay relationship is in the interest of the children. No.
And this is pursuant to my conversation with Katie Faust and a lot of the principles that were discussed last week. Again, this is not me saying that I'm trying to bust up your house legally if you're a gay person and you live in peace and you go about your life. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that it always has to be best interest of the child. And I suppose that there may be certain cases where a child who has been orphaned and is in desperate need of a home is better off with a gay couple than nothing. However, the biological God-given fact of the matter is that man and woman make child. The union of man and woman not only creates that life, but it is the arrangement that serves the interest of the child. Yeah. And so to substitute men and women, as we do in the gay relationship, and say, well, it's actually the same if you just put this kid with 2 men or 2 women. No, it's not. So I don't know that I would say I'm absolutely against gay adoption in all circumstances. What I would say is best interest of the child must always drive the decision. Mm-hmm. And maybe there are certain cases where best interest of the child goes that direction. I'm much more sympathetic to gay adoption than I am, say, like the intentional creation of life, removing the mother through surrogacy and IVF and all that.
Here's the thing. I would say, listen, if we were going to live in a world where gay people are having kids, if the options are adoption or test tube baby, I would say adoption, because the counter argument to what I'm saying would be, well, you could have a hierarchy. Here is heterosexual couple, here is gay couple, but then here is growing up in an orphanage. And correct. Yes, there is this gap between hetero and homo, but it's still better than the gap there. That would be the case again. So I guess that's a more toned down version. But I'm still weirded out by it. I know that's not an argument, but I'm not.
It is and it isn't.
Enthusiastic for it.
People would attack that as just like it's a phobia that you have that's personal. No, what you're talking about being weirded out by it is because of that fundamental truth. Man plus woman makes child. Man and woman care for child. The union of man and woman is not only what creates the life, it serves the interest of the child. So when you say weirded out, that's what you mean. Is like, can we just actually swap parts in that arrangement and act like it's the same? Obviously not.
Yeah,
they're not interchangeable.
I'm sure a liberal might smugly argue, like, well, what about straight people who can't have kids? It's like, well, actually, no, they're exactly who I want adopting. It's not just the biology alone. It's everything else.
And the counter to we'll look at these straight parents who are abusive. Yes, they exist too. Yes, they should be punished where they are abusive. It's a question of what is in principle in the interest of the child. And there is no way that I'm going to accept that the gay relationship in principle is in service to the child, because in principle it cannot create children. That's not why it exists. In principle, it exists to serve sexual preferences. And that's okay. You're entitled to sexual preferences. All right. I'm not here to come point the government gun at you. But when you're acting like you have a right to a child because of those sexual preferences, that is where the line has to be drawn. That is not the case. Your sexual preferences don't entitle you to the legal right to children. It is only the union of man and woman that can create children. And if you opt out of that, or if you believe you are biologically predisposed against that, okay, that's your life. You live it, but you don't get to scoop kids because you want to live your life that way. So I would hope we craft our legal system
and then,
with recognition of that. But of course, we're not going to. It's going to be more kids with lesbians.
Yeah. And to make the obvious point, to someone saying, well, heterosexual couples will abuse kids too. It's per capita. I know everyone sort of pretends to not understand what per capita means, but that would they're doing it at higher rates than straight couples are. So
anyway, to bring it back to the way I framed up that story when I say hate would have fixed
I already forgot how we got here.
If only we would have said, wow, those are some dykey lesbians.
Bitches. Yeah.
It all could have been prevented. And I actually feel bad laughing about that. We're talking about saving a child's life. Okay. Like, joking is actually inappropriate because a 12-year-old kid had his life starved away from him because we're going to trick ourselves into believing that we can just substitute men and women and it's all the same. And how dare you pass any judgments? No, it is not all the same. No, and kids are dying because we're acting like it is.
The world would be a better place if everyone had a very small amount of concentrated bigotry to people who deserve it. Like, yes. you never want to be a guy who just blanket hates people for the color of their skin or sexuality. But when you can notice a type within a demographic that's a problem, it's a good thing. Anyway,
if you're a woman with a buzz cut and you don't have cancer, you deserve exactly what you just described.
No kids. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this one before we move on?
Not really. I don't want to get myself in any trouble here.
Well, thanks again to listener Tavis. I appreciate you sending me this story because it's an important one, although I wish the circumstances were better. But let's catch up with Super Chat and call it a night. Let me open that up. Let's see. We're going to Rumble.
Cool.
Just a few over on YouTube here. Let me pull these up. Okay. Brennan Lucas. The problem is in we are quote unquote in the war now, and when your enemies see you as saying I'll destroy you, but not if the oil price rises too high, then they know exactly how to behave and calls your bluff. I do as skeptical, nervous, critical as I am of the direction of this war, I do agree with you philosophically that if you start sending those signals, like my perspective would be inappropriate for the Secretary of War, for the President of the United States. The things I'm saying, they would signal the enemy like, hey, they're buckling a little bit, so you gotta. If we just hold out a little longer, they'll be discouraged and they'll quit. I don't think that means that the nervousness or the hesitation is wrong, but I do agree with you that if you're the one conducting the war, you don't project that and you make it look like you are as committed, as strong as you can possibly be.
Yeah. Oh, just so you don't miss it, we got a Rumble rant, so we can get to that after.
I'll come back to it. Thank you for that. Esoterica Unbound has a few here. Says, we boomers are the target of a lot of complaints and insults from young internet hipsters. We apparently are the cause of all that is wrong in the world. The fact that your generation's preferred form of martial aggression is simply to call us enemies gay puts that into perspective. Western civilization is so screwed. Epilogue, perspective, not captive. Oh, he got an autocorrect, I think, again. Whatever that means. Now, I will say, as something of a boomer, I don't know, haters are probably too strong. Boomer critic, all right? That generation has its problems. I will always say, do not mistake boomer criticism for defense of millennials. And Matt, I don't know if you're a millennial or if you are, which generation are you?
I'm right at the end of millennial to Gen Z. I'm 93. So.
Millennials are terrible. And we have many of the same problems. We have just as many communists among us, probably more. So I'm not defending my generation.
The thing about boomers is, like, listen, every generation has different experiences. So, like, when they give advice to millennials what they should do differently, I think their advice was good advice for their generation. And there is kernels of truth to what they say. Like, boomer financial advice might be like, don't go to college and major in something dumb. Don't, spend $6 on a latte. Don't spend $20 on avocado toast. That's good advice. If you ever watch, like, Caleb Hammer's show, that actually would help a lot of people. But if you extrapolate from that, well, that's why young people can't buy housing. Well, then it becomes out of touch because, well, the real reason is the ratio of housing costs to the median income has gone into the stratosphere. So I think boomers will give advice that I think is 80% good, but it, doesn't totally translate to the landscape of today.
So is that yay boomers or boo boomers?
I post anti-boomer stuff on the internet, but it's from a place of love.
I'm still going boo boomers, but it's also boo millennials. Thank you.
Boo everyone. Yeah.
Injured Guardian says, update in a white pill. I'm slowly teaching the Suno AI to be based. So this is the song creating AI, right? Tell Batman, P.S. AI war is taken. AI was a real defeated Mideast city-state. Okay. That's why I have to say robot war too. It's like a brand. We only have the licensing rights to robot war. Don't you think robot war sounds more interesting than AI war?
Because AI just feels like, where is the battlefield? Robot you can picture in your head.
Yeah, it's AI the opening scene of, is it Terminator or Terminator 2 where he like crushes the...
One of them. You have more movie knowledge than me on this one.
Doesn't the Terminator step on like a skull at the start of the movie? Or there's a foot, a shiny foot that steps on something.
AI could never.
That's the robot war. Long Dung John, does Bering know that his and Sugar Tits outro track for the show was replaced with AI? I did not tell him that. And actually, I don't intend to... I love their song, so I don't intend to replace it forever. I also love the Knigga song, so I'm just giving it a little bit of play, and we'll decide how I potentially can implement both going forward. No, I don't have the heart to tell them that, and I love the song enough that I usually play in the Sunday outro and have for like 10 years or something. I'm not moving it permanently out. I would never do that. It's a great song that they did.
I'm gonna start watching them again. I watched Bering like 10 years ago, and then I don't know. I just kind of got bored with like politics on YouTube. So I moved over to like watching poker videos obsessively.
I thought you were going to say the talking animals. I think Bering is the last talking animal that survived. Remember how many talking animals there were back in 2016 era?
No.
God, there was teal deer. There was like
teal deer. I remember there was rabbit ape. Who else?
Yeah, God, I'm going to take flack for who was the kangaroo guy? There was the kangaroo guy. Also,
I'm waiting for someone in the chat.
Wasn't it? Was it Atheism is Unstoppable?
Oh, Devin Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched my Gavin McInnes' network. He's one of like a very high quality channel, but it's beyond a paywall on Gavin's network.
Yes, and he still has the kangaroo. In fact, go to atheismisunstoppable.net.
Yeah.
I feel bad for smearing. The kangaroo still survives. Bering is not the last surviving talking animal. The kangaroo is still in censored.tv, coupon code RUE, 20% off.
And he never actually talks about atheism. He needs to change the name.
I guess that's just the branding that you go with,
Yeah. He does a lot of very good jobs debunking like Netflix-style social justice cases like the Central Park Five. He did a really critical analysis of showing why the defense of them is all BS. His whole channel, it's like a true crime channel, but debunking sort of like Black Power type myths about white people doing crazy stuff.
Well, we're going to have a kangaroo versus bear war to decide who the king of the talking animals is. We have to settle this matter. Esoterica Unbound, thank you, Long Dong John. I'll have to catch the rest of the show as a podcast and need some sleep before heading to the airport for 4 hours in line to make an 8:30 a.m. flight. That's rough. Is it wrong to wish VD upon my reps in Congress? No, that's perfectly.
You suck. Fuck you.
Perfectly acceptable. I think that's fair. Speaking of the death penalty, you might make an argument in that regard. Some might. I wouldn't. Raja Mahan at YouTube. Maybe in Minecraft. I don't know. Okay. There are a couple more here. Taker610. Speaking of AI, with the new Harry Potter trailer out, someone made an AI video of Black Snape rapping and shooting a gun flying on his broom. It's great. I didn't see that much. Speaking of, Netflix and diversifying things, was there like a Harry Potter diversification? There's like a black character now or something?
Apparently now. I mean, I just saw a bunch of tweets that were making obvious jokes, like, people knowing they're in Snape's room is the smoke detector battery and stuff. But yeah, apparently that's the new thing. We got Black Snape.
I've never seen a second of Harry Potter, so I know what Harry looks like, and I know what Voldemort looks like. Those are the only two I can name.
I think I read the first book or two when I was in elementary school, but I never got in. I don't know. I never got into it, but there were kids that were like, they were really, really into it back then.
Tim says, let's throw some gasoline on the fire of this controversy. So it was 2 lesbians who had 2 adopted sons. Is there any chance that being lesbian made them hateful of males, which in turn made them hate and mistreat the boys they had in their care? That's a kind of a deep analysis. If you follow the logic that they weren't beating each other, they were beaten by men into lesbianism, the Reddit cope. Well, then that's a fair question to ask, too. If you went to lesbianism because of fear of, perhaps hate of men, why would it be wise to allow you to raise young men?
Right. I mean, I don't know if he is right, maybe they were going to try to mold them in their image or something, which I guess would have been violent and destructive.
Yeah, who really had the toxic masculinity in this arrangement? Unfortunately, it seems like the lesbians did.
I know other people have made this point, but if toxic masculinity was real, you would expect kids without fathers to be the most functional people in society and the biggest fuck-ups we've ever seen.
It doesn't work out too well.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have an... Oh, wait, Skulldugger... Yeah, Skulldugger did have one on Rumble here. The lesbian... child murder abuse story seems to be another stop on Rick Santorum's slippery slope. Indeed. And now that you are working some guest bookings for me, Matt.
Yeah. Rick Santorum?
I actually would love to talk to him if he's still... I haven't seen him do media hits for some time, but the reason I would love to talk to him is exactly this sort of stuff. It's kind of a joke that I owe Rick Santorum an apology for laughing at him 10 years ago about his slippery slope claims about marrying dogs and stuff. But
I thought he was a joke, but like, I'm one of those people where like gay marriage doesn't even bother me, but it seems like, unfortunately, was the first domino to be pushed into this whole torrent of insanity with trans, with every other thing we've since then. Like, when gay marriage was legal, my thought was, I'm not really in favor of this, but at least we can stop hearing from these people. And that we were here.
Next, it's Nashville Predators.
Predators. That was literally the beginning, and I was like, oh, thank God, this is finally over with. So
well, and I've wondered since then why. To the slippery slope claim, why would gay marriage lead to all this other nonsense? Because it didn't seem to logically follow. The reason why, as we've been talking about, is because when you act like men and women are interchangeable in this way, that's how you get all the rest of the bullshit. Men and women are not interchangeable insofar as they have a unique union with the unique capacity to create life. No other union has that. And so when you start substituting pieces, acting like other unions are just as functional, they are not. And again, I say that with full however you want to live in your house is up to you, as long as you're not violating the rights of others. I'm not trying to round you up and put you on the trains or anything like that. But I will never accept the premise that men and women are interchangeable in that way. They are not. And that confusing that is how you get the slope slipped to all the other nonsense that we've seen since.
Yeah. And my problem with the slippery slope fallacy is that the slope is slippery. So
it's
calling it a fallacy, you're lying to me. Like
they lubed it up. There's banana peels everywhere. Yeah.
But when you I don't know, when you change the laws, if you shift culture, it's going to have a ripple effect in other ways. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Skulldugger. And again, I'm sorry to mischaracterize your position on the robot war, and we will discuss the robot war the next time you're on. Okay, I think we're all set. Or maybe there's
I think we got one more. Then someone says he's enjoying me, but my voice gets more annoying the more he listens to me. I guess he should watch in like 30-minute increments over a week, maybe, was the solution there.
We'll try to do some vocal training.
Yeah, on me, it'll be good. I'll be
Tim
less,
says, okay, let's throw some...
here.
Oh, that was Tim's we just got. Brandon Lucas, the lesbians who pathologize their own sons is more true than you'd think. Okay, so this is related to Tim's comment. And I'm someone who supports same-sex parentships, but can't tell a lie. Yeah, it's that I've never really heard that theory before, but it seems hard to argue against. That is, and I don't know. I guess I'm not saying that every lesbian relationship is based on a hatred of men fundamentally, but I'm operating within the framework of the Reddit cope. That is to say, no, the domestic violence stats are real, but it's only because men kicked their asses, so now they hate men. Well, that sounds like a great reason not to give them young men.
My problem with lesbians is that, like, it makes no sense in that, okay, so you're a woman who's not attracted to men, so I'm gonna go date a woman who looks like a man. That's every lesbian relationship. Like, they're never like these really feminine, beautiful women. They don't exist. So
there are some lipstick ones, but
there's like three, and I've never seen one of them.
Well, the supposedly it's supposed to be like lipstick and butch attract, but in this case, like
it's butch and butch every time.
Yeah, or think of like Renee Good and Becca Good in Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, lesbians are kind of proof that being gay is not a choice because they all have that same like build. I don't know how to describe it, but everyone knows what I mean.
So it is biological.
It has to be.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Brennan. Appreciate your thoughts. I think we're all set now. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're all set. Anything else before we're out of here?
As always, buy my book. But if not, tweet at me and I'll give you a PDF of any of them for free.
All right. Yeah. Free PDF files from Matt Palumbo.
Oh, wait, no. There'll be .doc files. Holy crap. That's
okay.
Not that.
All right.
Not that.
Well, we will end there. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
On that
Thanks to our live chatters and super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our guest, Bearing. You can find Bearing's YouTube channel and X account linked in the description. Thanks to highly regarded author Matt Palumbo. Find his X account and his latest book on Alex Soros linked in the description. For free if you email him, I guess. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance as always. Find everything show related at mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay if you prefer brevity. Join the MC Club if you enjoyed the show. Plenty of supporter perks for you there. You help keep the duct tape production in operation as well. I'm live on Wednesday and Sunday nights. Have a great night and a great week until then.